Hey everyone, I am super excited to bring you today's video. My new friend Carissa from Carissa's Garden recently talked about how she was doing some winter jug sowing in one of her videos. And I reached out to her and asked her if she would be willing to come on my channel and talk to my subscribers about winter jug sowing. She was more than eager to do that. I just love hearing from other gardeners. I love hearing their excitement about what they're doing. And Carissa certainly has a lot of excitement about winter jug sowing. Carissa is based in Canada and she's a flower farmer, as she says in the video. And I would love it if you would subscribe to her channel. I will put all of her information in the description below. If you happen to be watching this video on Carissa's channel, my name is Bobbi. I live and garden in a Zone 6B in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, USA. I'm a cut flower farmer and I donate all of my flowers, and I'm also a cattle farmer, if that matters to anyone. The name of my channel is Gardening on Taylor Mountain, so if you'd like to subscribe, that would be great as well. After watching Carissa's video, I got myself in gear. I got some of my winter jugs started. I'm starting 11 at this time. She talks about how she's currently sowing perennials this time around in her winter jug sowing. I am sowing some cool flowers, specifically some that I've had trouble germinating in the past and getting to germinate. So I feel like the winter jug sowing method is going to be perfect for those. I'll put everything that I'm sowing in the description below as well. So as they say, without further ado, let's hear from Carissa.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Carissa, and if you are new here, I am a flower farmer and gardener, and I love the winter sowing method, and I hope you will too after this video. When Bobbi over at Gardening on Taylor Mountain asked me to do a video for her about my experience with winter sowing, I was thrilled. I am such a huge believer in this method. It is just unbelievable. The results are so amazing and it is so incredibly easy. I hope you want to try this method at the end of this video. So the basics for winter sowing is you're pretty much replicating what nature does itself in the winter. So this can be done for any type of seeds. I'm going to be starting with perennials for my area right now because it is in January. So we're still getting, cool evenings, which most perennial seeds need to germinate. You can be doing your warm season annuals as well in March and April. So the basics are, this is pretty much a mini greenhouse, if you want to call it that. What you're doing is you're creating a little climate for these seeds to germinate in a protected area. The success for these future plants is amazing because they are exposed to the climate already. They're exposed to the weather, all the different elements, and they create such a vigorous, strong root system because of those things. The other benefit is it's inexpensive. Most of us have milk that we're drinking. You can also get water containers, different containers like that. Milk jugs seem to be the best for me. I've used little Gatorade bottles, I've used produce containers, that type of thing. This seems to give me the best results. So I encourage you to use these. The other benefit to this method is no extra supplies, right? A lot of us have to buy grow lights and shelves and trays and all these different things, and it takes up a lot of space in our houses and it costs a lot of money to have those dedicated areas. But this is no extra supplies needed, and that is just so amazing. Okay, so some of the things that I've learned from winter sowing in the last few years is, like I said, choose the right container. I used little Gatorade bottles the first year and it just did not work. It was just too small of an area. The plant did all right, but it just wasn't comparable to what I got out of these jugs. Another thing I learned is not using enough soil. You'll see later in the video, we're cutting around this area, which gives you about 4 inches of soil. And I wasn't always using that entire area for soil. I was maybe only putting in maybe 2 inches of soil. And because, like I said, these plants grow so vigorous, their root systems are so healthy, they need all the soil they can get. So I would encourage you to use at least 4 inches of soil in the bottom of your milk jug. So those are my benefits. Those are my reasons why you should try it. And those are the things I've learned in the last few years. Now let's get into what I will be sowing for my first round. I've done quite a few in the last few years, sometimes up to 60 milk jugs, which makes me look a little bit crazy. This is our side entrance off of our house, but we use it like our main entrance. So when we have company over, they're wondering about the milk jugs, and I guess it's a conversation starter. So I've had great success with most perennials, lupin, columbine, feverfew, scabiosa, just to name a few. Those have all done wonderfully for me. Yarrow as well. And then, like I said, March or April, Depending on what your weather is like, you can start your warm season crops. Even vegetables I've started in here and they've done well. Tomatoes. All right, so these are the perennials that I'm going to be starting today. I have Columbine Munstead White, Columbine Black Barlow. These are so beautiful and so unique. I love these. Columbine Grandmother's Garden, Columbine Ruby Port, and the last Columbine is Lime Sorbet. So I'm super excited about Columbine. These are deer resistant, great perennials, and they just give you the most unique bloom, and I love Columbine. All right, the next perennial is Joe Pye Weed, and this is not the dwarf variety, so this can be about anywhere from 4 to 7 feet high. I'm very excited about this. I've never grown Joe Pye Weed, but I think it's just such a beautiful plant. I've seen it in person and the pink blossoms just look so beautiful, and they're great for a cut flower apparently. And then I have a few delphiniums. So I've got Magic Mountains Cherry Blossom and Belladonna Mix. So most of these are perennials zones 3 to 7, and then the one is a tender perennial, the Belladonna. But I think delphiniums are a short-lived perennial, so I'm hoping they either reseed or maybe I'll have to regrow these every few years. Another perennial is Blue False Indigo, and this is also known as Baptisia. I'm excited about this one. This one just seems like a beautiful plant, great for pollinators, and just so unusual looking. And then if you've watched my previous videos, you know I love feverfew, so I've got a couple different ones, Snowball and Tetra White Wonder. And feverfew is just such a great filler for bouquets. So those are, I think, about 12 that I'm going to be starting with. I'm going to be showing you how I prepare my milk jugs, placing soil, like I said, in the bottom 4 inches, putting my seeds inside, and then taping it up. All right, so here is a regular old milk jug. And what we're doing is we're cutting, if you see the handle right here, we're cutting just below the handle and leaving this area here so that we can have sort of a hinge to open up our jug. All right, and there you have it. Mini greenhouse. Now I'm poking a few, maybe 4 holes in the bottom for drainage. All right, there is 1 done, and now I've got 11 more to go. Okay, all of my jugs are filled up with my potting soil. You can use any type of soil. I've had success with all types. But potting mix is just readily available, so I use that. So pre-moisten your soil, put it in, remember, like I said, 4 inches, and then you are ready to sow your seeds. So the first one I'm going to start with is Blue False Indigo, which is also known as Baptisia. And I'm going to be placing these just below the soil surface. I usually try and do anywhere from 6 to 8 seeds in here because, like I said, these do grow quite vigorously, and they will quite quickly use up all of your soil, and you want healthy plants, so you need to give them some space. All right, those are all popped in. I'm just burying them slightly below the soil surface. Now, I usually use duct tape for this, but I ran out, so I'm going to use packing tape this time. I think it should hold up. I've seen it being used for this method before, but I can always add duct tape around the outer edge if I do feel like it's not holding up. And then labeling my jug. And there you go. Little habitat for my Blue False Indigo. Next is Delphinium, the Magic Fountains Cherry Blossom. I can't wait for these blooms. They just look so beautiful. Just a very nice soft lilac color. So I'm just sprinkling, like I said, about 6 or 8 seeds in, and then burying them inside of my soil. All right, I'm doing the Belladonna Delphinium mix. And Joe Pye weed. All right, now on to the columbine. So the first one was lime sorbet. Columbine ruby port. Okay, another columbine, grandmother's garden. Columbine black barlow. And that was Columbine Munstead White. All right, and then the feverfew. So I've got Tetra White Wonder. Now feverfew needs light to germinate, so those will not be covered. Last one is Snowball. And of course, one of the benefits of creating a community here on YouTube is meeting new gardening friends. So here's Bobbi from Gardening on Taylor Mountain. I hope you check her out.
I love how Carissa brought out that you can winter jug sow just about anything, or you can jug sow just about anything. She talked about the warm season tender annuals, and I think a lot of times we forget about those, maybe with the winter jug sowing method or with the jug sowing method. She mentioned how come March or April, depending on, of course, the zone you're in, you could sow your tomatoes, your peppers, and things like that in the jug method and have great success with them. And as she said, very little cost, very little maintenance. You don't have to have the grow lights. You don't have to have a specific spot to grow in seed trays and everything like that. I really think the jug sowing resonates with a lot of us gardeners. Just one or two things I wanted to mention. When I do the winter jug sowing, I do put a plant tag on the inside that's marked with what I'm growing. I use a waterproof garden marker for marking the outside, but sometimes that can go away. So if that happens and you have a bunch of beautiful seedlings inside and your label has faded, then you have one on the inside to kind of assure what you've got going on. Another thing I like to use to make holes in the bottom is my hot glue gun. Of course, I don't use the glue. I just heat it up and let it poke the holes in the bottom. One year, of course, I forgot to put drainage holes in the bottom of my winter jugs, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, and I'm like, oh, so no. Of course, what was I doing? I ran out there with my knife and, trying to poke holes in the bottom. Or if you have a little punch that's on your knife or something like that, that works just as well. If I kind of do it step by step, it helps me to remember all the steps that I need to do with the winter jug sowing. And as you can see, I keep my jugs in crates. That's totally not necessary at all, but we have a lot of wind here, so I like to keep my jugs in crates just so they don't blow all over the place. I'd really like to thank Carissa for being here on our channel and for bringing her expertise and her excitement over winter jug sowing. It just really got me going and enthused to get my winter jug sowing done. And as I said, please, please, please do subscribe to her channel, Carissa's Garden. Until next time, friends, I really appreciate you being here. Happy gardening. Bye-bye.
So that's it. Incredibly easy and fantastic results. I hope that you will try this method if you haven't before. And if you have, let me know in the comments what you've grown and what you've had good success with. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, welcome to the Gardening on Taylor Mountain viewers. It's nice to have you over here, and I hope you join me for future videos. Anyway, thanks, Bobbi. Good luck with your winter sowing, and I can't wait to see what you are growing as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.